Senior Procurement Specialist with the Department of Procurement Services. Welcome to our seminar for today on how to respond to a request for proposal. This is the city's bid and bond room. So if you're attempting to do business with the city at some point, you'll probably come through here. Okay, I'm going to run through this PowerPoint presentation, but you can ask questions if something comes up along the way, or you can wait until the presentation's over. I'm flexible. Tips for finding bid opportunities with the City of Chicago. Bids valued over $100,000 in RFPs are publicly advertised in the Chicago Sun-Times. Bids and RFPs are posted weekly to view and download on the City of Chicago Department of Procurement Services website. Bid opportunities are posted in the City of Chicago DPS Bid and Bond Room 103, which is where we are now at City Hall. Bid or RFP on CD-ROM can be picked up from here. See the City of Chicago buying plan and register your company for DPS alerts on DPS website. Attend pre-bid conferences. Network with other potential bidders to partner on the bid, subcontract, or submit as prime. Check bid takeout list posted in bid bond room and on DPS website. Before we go on, I just want to make one observation. How many people here are certified MBE or WBE firms? Okay, a few of you, good. I've noticed that when we have our pre-bid or pre-proposal meetings or pre-bid meetings, we don't usually get that many people that come that are subcontractors. Most of the people that come are the people who are going to respond to the actual proposal or bid, but we'd like to see more people come that would like to partner with those people, because in a lot of cases, or most cases, the city has a requirement that the successful respondent has to have minority participation, usually 25% minority business and 5% women-owned business. So we'd like to see more MBE and WBE firms come to these pre-proposal meetings. And they're all posted on the web as indicated in my prior speaking points. Use of an RFP versus a competitive bid. So request for proposal, or RFP, is a method of procurement to hire a professional services consultant to implement a new project in various professional service disciplines. It's project specific, used when the city does not have in-house technical experts or resources to implement a project or provide services. Competitive bid, or bid, is a method of procurement to purchase supplies, equipment, maintenance, and/or repair services and construction. Detailed bid specifications prepared, structured as project specific with specific quantities, one time, or blanket indefinite quantity usage. It depends upon requirements or DUR term agreement for goods and/or services. Proposal page line items include defined unit of measures and specific or estimated quantities. Bid specification details every aspect of product or services. An RFP defines project objectives and scope of service parameters, but does not specify in detail every aspect of how to accomplish or perform the required services. The city seeks proposals from qualified vendors detailing their proposed plan to implement and complete the project. An RFP entails detailed evaluation of proposals by an evaluation committee, or EC, based on evaluation criterion published in the RFP. The EC is comprised of various stakeholder departments. For a competitive bid, contract award is to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, meeting city specifications based on department review of bid tabulation and recommendation of award. For an RFP, vendor selection is to the highest rated or ranked respondent to the RFP, not necessarily the lowest price. Price can be negotiated. For purposes of this workshop, refer to the sample RFP handout provided. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough for everyone that attended, but if you'd like one, I can always email it to you later. You can get my card before you leave. Presenter will refer to sections in the sample RFP and present pertinent information in the PowerPoint slides. RFP content is standardized but may vary depending upon the project. For example, city-funded or state federal grant funding. MBE, WBE versus DBE goals. Minority business enterprise, which is MBE, or WBE enterprise, which is WBE, participation goals typically are in all city-funded projects. Disadvantaged business enterprise participation goals may be required for state or federal grant-funded projects. If DBE goals, local preference terms, Chicago-based business preference, for example, will be removed if prohibited by grantor. That means that if we're using federal or state funding for a particular project, federal or state legislation might prohibit us using one of those preferences. Format of the paper proposals: prepare an 8.5 by 11 letter-sized paper, printed double-sided. Use recycled paper. Expensive papers and binding discouraged. No materials will be returned. Submit original plus required copies, which is a hard copy or CD-ROM or USB drive. Electronic proposals must be word searchable. Sections of proposals should be separated by labeled tabs or organized in subject matter sequence in the required content of proposal section. Each page numbered in a manner to be uniquely identified. Proposals must be clear, concise, and well organized. A redacted proposal must be submitted. I find that that's one of the areas that we have the most trouble with proposals that we receive, which is respondents submitting a redacted proposal. The purpose of the redacted proposal is to give the respondent the opportunity to eliminate certain information that they don't want viewable by the public, because we are mandated to post all proposals that we receive. So for example, if you had resumes as part of your submittal package, and it had people's personal home address, for example, you might want to redact that out, or you might want to redact out certain parts of your financial statements that you submit, or any information that you submit that you might consider a trade secret, for example. So it's important that we get the redacted proposal along with the other proposals that are submitted. This is the proposal content: the cover letter, executive summary, professional qualifications and specialized experience of respondent and team members, professional qualifications and specialized experience of key personnel, implementation or work plan, cost proposal, submit on city form. So the city form would actually be included in the RFP that we release. So one of the pages would have a template on it with a maybe some type of a chart in the format that we wanted you to submit the information. MBE, WBE, or DBE plans, Schedule C1 and D1. Those are forms used to identify any minority or women-owned businesses that are, or disadvantaged businesses that are going to act as subcontractors if you're awarded the contract. Financial statements should be audited for the last 3 years. Some businesses might not have to produce audited financial statements. For example, maybe some smaller businesses or LLCs, so you could produce something that was reasonably equivalent to audited financial statements. Online economic disclosure statement, certificate of filing, and affidavit. The economic disclosure statement is something that we require all contractors or vendors to complete when they're seeking to do business with the city. Any legal actions over the last 5 years, and either an insurance certificate or a statement that you can meet the city's insurance requirements as they're outlined in the request for proposals. RFP evaluation criteria. RFP evaluation criterion will vary depending upon the project, but the most common ones are as follows: professional qualifications and specialized experience, local availability of team, which is the prime or any joint venture partners or subcontractors, current and past performance record plus references, certifications, and or licenses. So for example, if we were seeking to hire let's say an audit firm to audit records for the city, we want to see your CPA license and any other state licenses that you have to have in order to do that type of work. Professional qualifications and specialized experience, local availability of key personnel, resumes, role on project, plus organization chart and dedicated resources that you would bring to bear for this particular project. 3 would be an implementation or a work plan, basically outlining how you plan on completing the project from start to finish. Your cost proposal, MBE, WBE commitment, 25% minority business and 5% women-owned business goals or other goals as set by the department. Of course, you can exceed those goals. Disadvantaged business enterprise may apply a federally funded project. Your financial statements, as I mentioned earlier, compliance with laws, ordinances, and statutes, EDS certifications, legal actions, and any conflicts of interest that might hamper your ability to perform this project. Tips for preparing RFP proposal. Read the entire RFP document, follow proposal format and content instructions. Please don't take any shortcuts and don't assume the city knows your firm. So the reason we make that statement is because some companies feel that since they've done business with the city for 10 or 20 or however many years, that there's certain information that they don't have to elaborate on because the city already knows who they are. Well, somebody in one department might know who they are, but the people in the department that's putting out this particular RFP may not. The other reason for including everything that we request is because your proposal is supposed to be graded exclusively on what you submit, not what you've done for the city before that isn't requested in this particular proposal. So it's actually to your benefit to make sure that you answer all of the questions completely and not assume that the city already has some of the information that's required. Submit questions about the RFP in writing to DPS. Addendum will be issued to all RFP document holders on file with bid and bond room. When you submit questions, you would submit them to me or the person like me that's over this particular RFP. So on the cover of the RFP, the name of the procurement or senior procurement specialist that's overseeing the project will be there along with their contact information. So that's who you should always ask questions of. It mentions all RFP document holders on file with the bid and bond room. There's also instructions in the RFP for how you can register with the bid and bond room so that we know that you took out one of the proposals. That way, if we put out an addendum or clarification, you'll automatically be notified. If you don't register with the bid and bond room, we don't know for sure that you've applied and you may not get the information that you need in order to successfully bid on the project. Submit cost proposal in format provided for equitable comparisons. Be a responsible vendor. Verify your company has the ability and the capacity to perform and your proposal meets each specified requirement. If a mandatory requirement, avoid taking exceptions to the requirement. It will result in proposal rejection. Tips for preparing RFP proposal continue. Exhibit forms which must be completed as part of the proposal submission will vary depending upon the RFP, but the following exhibit forms are universal to every RFP. Company profile information, where you give some information regarding your company. Company references, client profile information, so that the city can check to see that you would be a good entity for us to contract with. MBE, WBE, or DBE compliance plan, which is completing those schedules, C1 and D1, and or any waivers. Online economic disclosure, the statement and affidavit, which includes disclosure of retained parties, any familiar relationships with elected city officials and department heads, and other certifications. Insurance certificate, which would be required at contract award. The city identifies in the RFP what the insurance requirements would be. Review city standard contract terms and conditions if attached as an RFP exhibit. It is always attached and it would be considered usually Exhibit 9 to determine if your firm can perform under those terms and conditions. Verify existence of any addendum issued by city before submitting proposal. That's why I mentioned the fact that you should register with the bid and bond room so that you're automatically notified. You would be part of the takeout list. Paper submission, submit proposal on time. You don't have to wait. If the proposal is due on December 28th at 4 p.m., you don't have to wait until December 28th. You can submit your proposal anytime before that. And I encourage people to do that just in case something comes up, to make sure that they can get their proposals in on time. Late proposals may be rejected by the CPO unless stated otherwise in the RFP. E-Procurement is an electronic bid and RFP submission process that the city is implementing right now. The city is transitioning from paper proposal submissions to online submissions of RFPs and RFQs via e-procurement. Vendors must register in iSupplier to submit electronic submissions through e-procurement. Proposals cannot be submitted via e-procurement after the published due date. Pay attention to the RFP instructions for proposal submission requirements. Cover letter must be signed by an authorized officer and acknowledge any addendum issued. That's another problem that I see. People sometimes submit cover letters, they're not on their stationery or letterhead, and they're not signed. Make a checklist of all submittal requirements per proposal required content section to verify completeness of proposal before submitting to DPS. If you do that, then you're less likely to leave anything out. The E-Procurement RFP document can be viewed and downloaded using the following link. That's the link for registering an iSupplier, and then links for the addendum. So we published the pre-proposal conference attendees. So if this was a pre-proposal conference, I would take the sign-in sheet that you guys signed in on, and then we would upload that to the city's website so that, for example, minority or women-owned businesses could see who attended, and maybe they could seek out trying to do business as part of this particular project. Proposal evaluation and award. Respondents to the RFP are posted on the website. No other information about proposals or evaluation is available until after the contract award process is completed. All Freedom of Information Act requests received are held until after contract award. Debriefing meetings can be requested in writing to CPO. However, as indicated previously, the debriefing meeting is only going to take place after the contract has been awarded, and that can take some time. Evaluation committee evaluates proposals in 3 phases. Phase 1 is the preliminary proposal assessment, which is a checklist for responsiveness, meaning the committee would check to make sure that you submitted all the documents that you were required to. 2 is the proposal evaluation, where the committee actually looks over your proposal and grades it based on the criteria that was put into the RFP. And then 3 would be site visits or demonstrations and oral presentations for shortlisted respondents. Vendor selection and declination letters sent to respondents as applicable. City not obligated to select any vendor. So after looking at the proposals, the city could decide to throw them all out and maybe start over again, maybe putting out a new specification that had a little more material in it so we can get a better response. Contract award contingent on successful negotiation of terms and pricing. City not obligated to award a contract. RFP may allow multiple awards by service category or separate projects. Okay, that completes the PowerPoint. Now we can open up the floor to any questions.
I have a question about the proposal.
Okay, I got you a second. He raised his hand first, sorry.
Okay, my question is there a portal that you have for the 25% for the primes to look into to request them, or you just have to seek it out from the prime?
Say that again?
The 25% requirement.
Right.
5% requirement for the MBE.
Right.
Is there a portal that
Oh, yes. Yeah. The city has a portal that lists all of its certified firms. and you can search them by what they do.
I'm saying, so you can get yourself on, I'm not trying to be a prime, but a sub to those.
If you're already certified with the city, you're already listed.
Okay, and another thing, the PPP, is that a part of the 25%?
No, no. They were saying that that might apply to federal programs.
Answer the question.
Why don't you ask it again? I'm kidding. Anybody else?
Hi, a couple of questions regarding the format of the proposal. The electronic copy needs to be word searchable.
Yes.
And that's with the paper submittals as of now. I presume once you go electronic, then that no longer applies.
Well, you would still submit it in a format that would be word searchable,
Okay.
whether you submit it on a flash drive or you're submitting it by uploading it to our portal.
And the word searchable are Adobe?
Yes.
Word? Okay.
Yep.
And then the redacted proposals, so if we're submitting financial information, do we redact that,
You don't have to.
considering that most of it would be confidential information, but obviously you're looking at financial information for a reason, right?
The city's looking at financial information to make sure that the respondent has the capacity to perform the project.
Okay. So I guess I'm not sure what we could redact then in the financial documents to show that we're a financial viable company.
Okay, so those are two different things. Your decision to redact something in your financials is your decision. The city is asking you for financials so we can evaluate your capacity to perform the project.
Right.
So those are kind of two separate things. So yes, you can redact things out of your financials that you give us, but you're still going to give us maybe I should be a little clearer on that. You're going to give us an unredacted proposal. In addition, you're going to give us, if you choose, a redacted proposal.
Right.
But we have to have your financials that we can see everything on.
And we could choose not to submit a redacted proposal.
No.
If we're,
Well, you can email me or give me something in writing on your letterhead saying, we choose not to redact our proposal. You may post it as is.
okay.
I've yet to have anybody do that. Well, I'm sorry. I did have one company do that this summer. So you could do that.
And then last question.
And there's a redaction tool built into Adobe, by the way. So I don't know why a lot of people use markers to do it. But you can redact in Adobe.
Okay. And finally, the the EDS.
Mm-hmm.
Does that have to be completed prior to submitting the RFP?
Yes, that's part of your submission package.
Okay.
So if you submit your package and that's not done, then your package is incomplete.
Okay.
We may give you an opportunity to do it before we go through the proposal review process. That would be the committee's decision. But anything that's missing from your proposal, the committee could decide to not accept the proposal because it's incomplete, technically.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I did have one last question, which is after the proposal evaluation, so finally step 3 would be site visits, demonstrations, or presentations if necessary.
If necessary.
When, after the presentation, is that when we would find out if we're selected or?
Yes.
Oh, so right after?
If it even goes to that point, it might not go to a phase 3.
Okay.
The committee might make a decision just based on phase 2.
Okay. Great, thank you.
You're welcome. I'll get you next.
So as a subcontractor, the prime, are they the ones that's submitting the proposal, or does the subcontractor have to submit as well?
No. The prime is the one that submits the proposal. So the subcontractor, based on their relationship with the prime, would provide any information that the prime asked of them to make their proposal complete. That's between the prime and the sub. We're just looking for everybody to submit what we just asked for up here. So,
So then you wouldn't have to submit any financials or anything like that as a sub?
right. Let's get, hold on. Nope. Okay.
My first question is related to the differences, if any, between what you showed there for RFP submittals versus competitive bids. Because at the beginning, you said professional services are under an RFP. And for me anyways, I would be looking at submitting to competitive bids for repair and maintenance
Okay.
services. So is the format...
The format's basically going to be the same. With a competitive bid, there might be different little nuances that would separate it from RFP, but the process should be the same as far as what you're submitting and all of the steps that were laid out, right?
Okay, so it would still be
It's just the,
electronically, like RFPs under that iSupplier with the register and all that?
right.
Okay. And are any of the City of Chicago bids read publicly at the time that they're due, or is it more?
Actually, I'm in professional services. I think they might. I think they do that for bids. Yeah.
Does everybody submit a redacted proposal or only the person being awarded?
No, because you don't know if you're going to be well, everybody's proposal is going to be posted on the web, so that's why it doesn't make a difference if you're awarded or not. And we know we're more likely to get it on the front end, because if you find out you're not awarded, you don't have any inducement to give it to us then. So the inducement is, if you want to be considered, you have to give us the redacted proposal, or you'll just be in a holding pattern until we get it.
And another question. You're supposed to separate each section by tabs. When you
Right.
have a hard copy, you have a tab, right, where it sticks out.
That's not an issue for,
Electronic.
right. Because if it's searchable, then it didn't make it. Tabs are just a convenience for you to get to sections, but if it's searchable, then you already have that convenience. Let's keep going off. Anybody else?
What's your name? I missed the first part.
Ray Adams.
Okay, and are you passing out business cards?
I can.
That would be great. And then the sample RFP, is that out on?
Actually, if you contact me, I'll just email it to you. Because the sample that we don't leave the RFPs up there. After the proposals come in, we take it down. So I still have it. I mean, my coworker did that one, so I just get it from him and I can email it to you. But it's not still posted. But we leave the proposals up indefinitely, and the contracts.
And typically, what's the time frame between when you do the RFP and the final decision?
Ooh. Ugh.
No average?
I don't want to scare anybody. There's a lot of factors that come into play with that. So, for example, if we put out something today, it could be 6, 7, or even 8 months before we actually complete a contract for any number of reasons. Or it could be really quick, like in a few months. I think bids probably get awarded quicker than the professional services contracts that I work on. But it could easily be several months from when you turn in your proposal to, because there's a lot of things we have to do in the interim. We have to convene members of the evaluation committee. They have to look at proposals. Sometimes members are on vacation out of town. We can only meet if all the members can be there. So it's a lot of things that can affect the process.
So should we continue following up, or?
It doesn't hurt to follow up. Yeah.
The sample RFP that you were going to give out, but you ran out of, is that the RFP that you guys publish, or is that a response to an RFP?
No, this is the actual RFP.
Okay, you don't have any sample responses?
All of the responses are posted on the web, so you can look at any one you want to. There's quite a few, which isn't a bad idea.
Yeah.
Especially if you look up a response from somebody who was actually awarded a contract. Then you know.
And where do you find that?
On the city's website. It's in the information that you picked up. The link is in there.
And then for the financial statements, if you're a sole proprietorship, you submit your taxes on your schedule C every.
Then you could put together like a profit and loss statement and like a balance sheet, something like that. No?
I don't ever do that, but.
I apologize if I'm a little bit repetitive. Just wanted to get it clear. So the city provides a list of
Subcon of MBE, WBEs. The city provides it on the website, right? Or you could probably get one from here.
It's not that the sub goes out to start looking for those who want the bids to start looking at.
Well, that's what I suggested at the beginning, that if you're a certified MBE or WBE, I would be coming to pre-proposals meetings every day at City Hall to try to get a contract with somebody. For example, we've got a pool of vendors that provide real estate appraisal services for the city. So if the city wants to sell a building or a lot that it owns, we would pay we would have one of our contractors go out and do the appraisal. So they have to have minority participation, but we allow them to have what we call indirect participation. So they usually use like office supply companies or messenger services or maybe even CPA firms to meet the qualification. So even if what you do isn't directly related to a particular project, you might still be able to participate if the city has allowed indirect participation. So, but you can decide that for yourself. You can go on the city's website and see what pre-proposal meetings are coming up, and you can look at what it's for and determine if that's something that you'd be interested in being a part of. And then you would come to a meeting like this and you'd introduce yourself, tell them that you're certified MBE or WBE, and see if you can get some type of partnership. Did I miss anybody over here?
Yeah, I have a question about the proposal evaluation and award. Should it get to like the third phase, do you have any tips on the presentation?
Well, actually, we're going to tell you exactly what we want you to do. So we're going to send an invitation letter to what we call the shortlisted firms. And the invitation letter will say that you've been shortlisted to make presentations in phase 3 of this evaluation process. And then we're going to include an agenda showing you the date and time that we want you to be here, and then we're going to show you the questions that we want you to address in your presentation. So you won't have to guess. You'll know exactly, because we would have spelled it out for you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
My question is pretty broad in terms of like a procurement practice.
Okay.
So it's been my experience that minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses tend to be encouraged to be subs. Is that because it's an idea that they're not financially stable to just kind of be the prime? Like, what is it that constantly sort of, as an industry, seems to drive that message? Because I feel like that's the message I'm getting here, and I've got that message from the county. Is it more beneficial to be the prime who's minority-owned, or is it just not relevant? If you're 5%, you're 5%. It's two-parter.
Okay. Well, I hope I can answer all your parts. Well, I hope I haven't sent that message. As a matter of fact, the city puts out some specifications that are target market and non-target market. So non-target market would be essentially a regular spec that we put out asking for people to provide proposals, and it would have its own minority and women-owned business requirements. Target market means we're targeting specifically MBE and WBE firms. So to be awarded for target market, you have to be an MBE, WBE. So the city's intention is certainly not to discourage anyone from applying to be a prime on the contract if they're minority certified. So we definitely don't want to send out that message. Does that answer your question? I can't say that it's daily, but the city puts out quite a few bids during the week, so it probably is daily that we have bids going out. But I can't say that for sure. It's at least multiple times a week. And it could be more than one bid going out on a given day. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, excuse me, I may be missing something because I'm on the DPS alerts,
Mm-hmm.
and those come out every Monday, and in there, if you scroll down,
Mm-hmm.
there's a link for bid opportunities,
Okay.
which I always click in.
Okay.
I don't see much movement in that week to week, as far as new stuff being added. So is there another place that I should be searching for bids, or
No, that's it. How long have you been getting the alerts?
quite a while? And I've been waiting for a specific one that's in the buying guide for the fourth quarter.
Which one is that? Do you remember?
Yes, it's for the fire extinguisher service,
Okay.
Department of Aviation, I guess, knows that.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen that come out, so I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right source.
Well, to double check, I mean, you should be, but you could also go on the city's website and check yourself. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I don't personally check, so I can't speak to whether we have something every day or every few hours or whatever. I just know what I'm working on. And, I mean, I'll talk to my coworkers, but I don't have a clear idea of how often they're coming out, that type of thing.
Okay, may I ask one more question?
Sure.
Going back to the question addressed over here about the WBE and BE requirements. You mentioned that there's some solicitations that go out that are targeted to that group.
Where we call them target market.
Right, target market. What defines that? I mean, how do you, is there some place we could go? Is there some place, do you like go through the list of certified companies in the city and say, okay, these folks provide this service, and you're going to have to do that? Or what's the process?
No, we don't really put out specs to people. We release specs, and we hope that people like you guys are looking on our website and apply. We can't steer business. So, for example, I can't tell you that I'm getting ready to release a spec this Friday for such and such a service. That would be against guidelines. So you have to look yourself. But, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm perhaps not being clear. I was just curious as to what the process was to direct the targeted. Like, what do you look at to direct?
Okay. So when the Department of Procurement Services is working in conjunction with our city departments, and they put together a scope of what they're looking for in proposals, then between the two departments, they'll know that, well, this particular area, we have quite a few WBE or MBE firms certified. So in this case, we can do a target market and a non-target market so that we can have, because that's what we did for the real estate appraisals. We have target market and non-target market because we have quite a few certified target market firms. Excuse me. Prime is just a definition of the person that's responding to the proposal. That's what makes them the prime. It's not, prime is just a generic term for the person that's submitting a proposal to the city, as opposed to the subcontractor. So, right, prime is for primary, sub is for subcontractor. So it just depends on the particular project. Keep them coming. Anybody else? Well, I should be getting some good evaluations from you guys, I'm thinking. Huh? All right, if there's no other questions, if anybody wants a business card, I can give you one now. And if you want a copy of this RFP that we passed out to some people, I didn't expect this many people were going to show up. The last one I did, I had 4 people. For real. But it was a spirited discussion, though. Ironically, I'm still working on the cards I got 2 years ago. It's like we never get rid of them because people don't really use cards anymore. Once you email somebody, you have their contact information. Just like how many of us still have telephone books. I'm sure you young people are like, what's that? Anybody else? Pass that back to the lady, please. So yeah, we encourage you, contact us anytime. I mean, you guys are paying our salary, so if you want to bug us, bug us. It's just that sometimes we don't have any new information to give you. but we can tell you that. Anybody else? I'm sorry. No, I said I could email it to you. No, this is just the PowerPoint. Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, you needed this? That's the RFP, or you already have one? Who needed one? But if you can go on our website right now and there'll be, I mean, it doesn't have to be that exact one. They basically all have the same format, so you can download one or look at it or save it electronically off the website. It doesn't have to be that one. They just actually chose this one, but.
The place where you see who was awarded, is that the same place where you look to see what?
Yeah, on our page, we've got a number of different links, like one will say bid opportunities, or one will say proposals or bids, or, you know, that type of thing. You're welcome.
Where should we leave these, sir?
Oh, yes.